I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending March the 23rd, where the feeder cattle market was sharply lower last week and about the toughest week we've seen on cash feeders in quite some time. Just nothing selling well. It's been a long time that I remember that we were this early in the spring and your calf demand was even light, but just light demand for all classes. The board took a toll on the cash markets this week, and let's look at the board on June live cattle. Monday was down $1.60, Tuesday was down $1.15, Wednesday down $1.62, Thursday up $1.02, and then Friday down another $2.20 to end the week with June live cattle at $106.20. That was $5.55 lower for the week. Your April spot live cattle futures ended the week at $116.05, about a $10 discount to what the cash market is, and we're at the very final week of March here, getting real close to April, and actually Easter Sunday is going to be April the 1st. You look out further out front, August live cattle sitting at $104.95, and that's looking at that would be a lot lower than what we've seen fat cattle trade for a long time. It's kind of tough to get them under $1.10 in the last couple of dips we've had. April feeder cattle, Monday was down $2 even, Tuesday was down 75 cents, Wednesday down $1.22, Thursday up $1.80, and Friday down $1.92 to end the week with April feeder cattle $136.10. Your March on your spot is $135.70, but that $136.10 on the April was $4.10 lower for the week. Look out front of ways, May feeder cattle set at $137.30. A lot of those big prices that we've seen for late summer and fall have really died down, but they are still up into the low to mid 40s. And there's been a lot of hedging pressure, especially on that August. People have got their grazing cattle put together and ready to turn them out. Went ahead and hedged those. If you want to hedge some fall delivery feeder cattle, especially you guys with your big calves that you're going to sell there in October, November, you may want to go ahead and do that now while it's still up there quite a ways, because this market looks tough for quite a ways out. Although I do think at some point we're going to have another little turnaround, because the board has come down so far, so fast, that it's going to give some signals. It's going to correct itself a little bit, and I think we will have a little turnaround here before we get to the big numbers of market ready fat cattle, and that'll be an opportunity for people to kind of catch back up a little bit. But your fat cattle trade through Thursday, and not expecting a whole lot of anything to happen on Friday, but through Thursday there was 111,700 head of fat cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region. That's a good, big, healthy trade there. Your live sales, most all at 126. A little bit difference here. Had some 127 in some places in the Northern Plains, some 126.5 out in Colorado and places, but for the most part it was 126. And your live steer weighted average through Thursday was 125.94, so that's pretty much 126. And that was straight up $2 lower than the weighted average from the previous week. Your dress steers selling from $2 to $2.04. There was a lot more of the lower figure later in the week, and more of that higher number earlier in the week. Your weighted average is sure not very good on your dress steers. They're 201.88. And we didn't think it was that much 202 out there, but evidently there was quite a bit, and a lot lower than that. But that's down almost $4 from the compared to the weighted average from the previous week. Box beef cutout value is about steady, with your average trade for last week on choice boxes $224.18, down 28 cents. Selects at $216.97, up just 9 cents, and that choice select spread about $7.21. Your slaughter was pretty aggressive for last week, 607,000, which was 12,000 more than the previous week, and 6,000 less than the same week a year ago. Your beef total pounds in cold storage, which come out last Thursday, was down 8% from last month and 8% for last year. So that doesn't sound too awful bad. Your cattle on feed report come out on Friday, and then not a lot of hubbub coming out before it, and it kind of snuck up on us. But your inventories for March the 1st were guessed at 108.1, and they come in at 108.7, so just a smidge higher than expectations. But nevertheless, that's the highest percentage number on the cattle on feed we've had on the inventory since October 2006. And we know that there's a ton of cattle on feed, and we know there's not much pen space out there, and that's got a lot to do with why our feeder cattle demand is so light right now, because there's just not anywhere to put them. Your placements in February, the average guess was 104.5. They were low again, but not terrible bad. Your actual come in at 107.2. I still don't think those numbers are going to be that bearish really for the way things are. We knew we had a lot of numbers on feed. What's kind of funny to me though is that they missed the placements low, and they were so close on the inventory. But marketings, 101.4 was the average guess, and the actual come in at 101.6, so that helped out a little. But don't see a major market mover on your cattle on feed report. Your placements at 107.2 figure. Most of the increase was on your 7-weight cattle, which that's not surprising. A lot of those cattle were coming off of wheat because they ran out of wheat and had to move those a little bit early, and probably projected those cattle away in the 8s coming off the wheat, and they weighed in the 7s, went right on feed in February weighing that. But your feeder cattle market, your real-time index from Beef Market Central based on the 800-pound steer real-time ended the week at 135.38. That was down $6.90 compared to the end of the previous week. That is big on a 7-day moving average there. And we did actually see a basis flip there, because we had been running with our cash index levels quite a bit higher than the spot feeder cattle futures, which right now is March at 135.70, and we've been running so high above that. Your real-time index has now dropped down below that, so we expect your CME feeder cattle index to do that too, but right now it's still sitting up there at 138 at the last release of that report. But you look at your cash feeder cattle market, and in your auctions, your receipts were a lot lighter last week than they were the same week a year ago, and about 60,000 less or something like that. There's quite a bit. But you look at your cash feeders, $5 to $10 lower on all classes. And like I said earlier in the report, it's hard to believe that we're just sitting right here in late March and there's light demand on calves. But even your order buying markets in the southeast, your calf markets were quite a bit lower down there, and just light demand noted everywhere. There's no place, none of your feedlots are really wanting any more cattle. They're hard to get them to hedge. There's not a whole lot of pen space available. Most everybody that's going to turn a lot of grass cattle out have already got those cattle put together. They're not needing any more right now. We do expect a little bit more demand on your lighter weights as we get as the grass finally gets here. This grass is going to be late this year, guys. A lot of times by now it's green enough that you can go ahead and go out and sure by April the 15th, but we're looking a lot of places in the Midwest and even in the plains, you're going to be late April before we get any grass, and you get in the southwest and it's just been so dry down here that you're not going to have any grass to turn out on. But you look at some individual quotes late in the week. Lexington, Nebraska, good sale on a Friday there. They've still got demand for some good quality calves right in that area, and not seeing a whole lot of them. Not a lot of people in there have lightweight calves this time of year, so when they see them in a big drove of them, the guys that want them have to get on them. And they had 71 head there on Friday, weighed 565 pounds at 193.50. That's not much off of what we saw there a month or two ago. And then just a good test and a good sale barn there in East Central Kansas. Fort Scott Livestock Market in Fort Scott, Kansas. One of your very best Saturday sales, for sure your best Saturday sale in the Plains States there. But a good test of the market, and this is pretty much what cattle are worth, guys. They had 62 head of steers weighed 810 pounds at 133.50. That's a look at your markets for last week, and from a Home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.